Hey everybody, in this one I wanted to do a video on the state of GM factory speakers. So I just got a new 2025 2500 HD, and it's an LTZ. It's got all the bells and whistles, but because of limited options, I mean, I don't really think the Bose are that great anyway, but because of limited options, and this being one of, I think, 500 trucks in within 300 miles in my area that had everything that I wanted, I ended up getting standard speakers, which is fine, but it is insane how much money you can pay for one of these trucks and the quality of speakers that you get with it. Now, they're not terrible, but for what you pay, I mean, you can easily pay $70,000 to $90,000 for one of these trucks. And I would imagine these speakers have got to be widespread across pretty much all the vehicles that they sell new, because it's just their factory 6x9s or 6.5 inch speakers. But it's surprising how much you spend for the speaker quality that you get. And I've even heard some of my buddies say that even the newer Bose systems are just not even that good either. I have a 2020 Chevy truck that has the Bose in it, and that sounds pretty good. We have a 2015 Traverse. We had one of those, and with the standard speakers in that, and that actually was adequate too, especially when you're driving around with a family and stuff like that. You don't have it cranked. And this is coming from a guy who, when I was younger, I had a system in my truck. I've got basically huge tower speakers and woofers in every room of the house. I've got, in the upstairs living room, the downstairs living room, in my shop, in the front of the shop, in the back of the shop, in my office, in the gym. I don't know anywhere else, but anyways, anywhere I spend time, I got some audio. And so even the Bose system in that other truck was adequate, but today the speakers that they're sending out there's no meat at all. There's no bass. The lows it's just gone. Like, I'm gonna do a test here, and I'm gonna see if I can get this to work. I'm gonna see if I can get this to work. But the state of these speakers is kind of crazy. The only decent thing about it is I am gonna buy some new speakers for all the doors of this truck. This is a quad cab, which, by the way, other than the speakers, this truck is freaking awesome. This thing is a monster. It is huge. It hauls like a beast. You can fit your entire family in here and then some. I'm loving it, except for the speakers. So I'm going to fix it. But I wanted to do a quick video and just see if I can show the state of these speakers. And I'm going to try and figure out how to set this up so I can play something. I had to find a song that won't get me, banned from the overlords on the tube here. So I got myself set up with a royalty-free song, and I'm gonna play that for you, and I'm gonna record it on a backup phone, and then at some point I'm gonna put new speakers in here, and I'll record that same song again, and I think you should be able to pick up the differences if you're using the same speakers and I'm using the same input. I think you should be able to pick it up. But nonetheless, even if the video doesn't pick it up, these speakers suck for any bass, any boom. And we like rock, metal, whatever. But anything you want to feel it. We got a bunch of subwoofers in the house. When the music cranks, you want to feel it. But you cannot feel it in this truck. And I will even show you. If this is how I have it cranked in the truck. This is how I have the equalizer set up, and that is ridiculous. That is a ridiculous setup. Like, I have never done that in any system or any vehicle ever. Usually, you might bump it a tiny bit here, put the treble up a tiny little bit, drop the mids a tiny bit, and that'll do it for you. But this is ridiculous. So I'm going to try and show this with this equalizer set up just like this. And I'm going to try and record it on this other phone here, and I'll mash the videos together. But, yeah, let's get into this. Okay, I've got this secondary phone on here recording the screen. I'm holding the phone in the same position, and I have this song queued up. It's Metalcore Madness by Sin Yells or something like that, but it's royalty-free now, so it should be good to go so you can hear it so they don't just mute it in 2 seconds. But you can see I have the equalizer set up here. I'm going to record this in the same position with the factory speakers, and then I'm going to play it again later and do the same setup with the new speakers that I got. And obviously, you know, we can get into that probably in another video, but I'm going to play this right now. Let's go. All right, so that was that clip I took out, just so I don't die and scare myself next time. But anyway, so it doesn't sound terrible. It's like probably adequate for a lot of people, but if you like to rock out, ain't gonna cut it, especially when you drop in this kind of money. So, like, if you just listen to, you know, I don't know, like you know, my dad or something like that, if he just listening to the radio as it goes, would be fine. But we don't just listen to the radio, you know. We get into it. I got my kids rocking out. Sometimes I can get my wife into it. But we like to rock out a little bit. And it's just not cutting. There's no meat to it. It's just crazy. So what I did is, you know, with a wife and kids now and dogs, and, you know, we all like to go places together. I don't crank it all the way. You know, so like you can't hear anything and you're, you know, wrecking the kids' hearing or anything like that. Maybe I used to do that a little bit. I don't know. But I don't do that anymore. So I just want better sound. I just want good sound. I want to feel a little bit of the bass. So, and I also don't want to spend tons of money for something that I don't really care about a ton and that I wouldn't even fully utilize because, you know, like even especially like the kids will say, you know, ow, it hurts. The dogs, they can't say that, and if they're in the back with, you know, there's friggin' so much room in this truck. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's like a whole, you could walk right through the middle. You know, if we have them back there, I don't want it loud enough to hurt them, so I don't even do that anymore. I haven't for years, but it can still get pretty loud, and we just want to feel it. So what I did, without wanting to replace the head unit, which I don't even know if you can, or without having to put in a bunch of amps and all this kind of stuff, the front doors on these trucks have 6x9s in them, and the rear doors in the crew have 6.5-inch speakers. And I bought some new speakers for that, which obviously I'll do in another video, but we're going to try it out with this head unit, with the existing power, and I'm just going to replace the speakers, and hopefully these new, you know, much higher quality two-way speakers with the existing power, because these speakers I bought them on purpose because they should be pretty sensitive. They should do a lot of work without a lot of power, and I'm pretty darn confident that that will tip the scale here and get me where I want to be, at least to, you know, whatever the best Bose is put in a factory vehicle. I would hope, you know, get something darn close to that, because, you know, that's pretty much what we need. So that's what I want, you know. And I will say, you know, obviously I know that there's dash speakers over here and over here, and the truth is the clarity of these speakers in the factory speakers in these new GM vehicles, the clarity is actually really good. Like, the highs are really clean. You don't hear any distortion, you know. It's good. So, like, if you listen to podcasts like crazy, like, I can imagine the vocals. Like, if you were a vocal heavy person, these speakers would actually sound really good. And a lot of that comes from up here. But there's the woofers in the doors have nothing. There's no meat. Like, and obviously, and you can see that's with bass way up here. Like, that, you should not be doing that. Like, that's crazy. So, but anyway, so I'm not going to replace the dash speakers, which should also make this job a little bit easier. And honestly, you know, with the cost of like aftermarket speakers these days, the fact that, you know, you can get you can get 4 speakers that are like really good for, you know, for under $300-400 or something like that. And, you know, you got people dropping $70,000 to $90,000, $100,000 on these trucks, and they're not even going to put in like even $500 worth of speakers. It's crazy. So, you know, like I said, they're not terrible. They're better than a lot of like cheaper vehicles I've been in, but they're not what you expect if you want something to sound really good or in a truck like this. So we are going to remedy that, and if all it takes is replacement speakers, 4 of them for each door, to get the woofers to get a little bit more meat behind them, and looking at maybe like, you know, $350 or something like that. I don't know. We'll talk about the next video once I figure it out. That's a very good fix, very solid fix. So we will see if that is adequate, and if it is, that's going to be killer, because, you know, I could go drop, you know, it's 2020, it's almost 2025. The cost of things is crazy. So, you know, if I take this somewhere and tell them, do it, make it sound good, oh, I'll bet you somebody charged me thousands of dollars. And it's just, you know, like I said, I wouldn't even use it. So, we'll see if I can just slip in some aftermarket speakers here that should fit the bill with this, just using the stock power, and we'll check that out later. But anyway, so that's my test, my little bit of a rant on the speakers. Hopefully in these videos you can actually see, or not see, but you could hear the difference. If you really set up your setup and tried this video, listen to it, use the same settings on the next video, I can't imagine why you wouldn't be able to hear the difference, especially, you know, especially looking at this and messing this around. But if you can't, take my word for it, these stock speakers, surprisingly bad with the bass. Very clear. Maybe they just think that nobody listens to rock or metal, or, I mean, especially like hip hop and rap, which is not my thing. But if you listen to that, man, you would be in rough shape if you were expecting to get some thump. So, because there's not, and, you know, and I listen to a lot of like double bass, kick drum and stuff like that, real fast. So I want punch. You know, I can't have crappy woofers that are just slopping all around and taking forever either. I want it to just, you know, you got to get knocked a little bit. So anyways, that's it. Stay tuned for part 2, and we will get into this. And, you know, you can either see the proof in the pudding in these videos or take my word for it. But we'll see if we can get this fixed.